Venezuela is a country on the verge of collapse. At 700%, the rate of inflation is the highest in the world. There are chronic shortages and social insecurity amid a violent political struggle between a government determined to hold on to power and an opposition clamouring for change. Henrique Capriles is one of the leaders of this opposition, a former presidential candidate. Today, he's one of those behind a recall referendum, pushing for President Nicolás Maduro to stand down. Mr. Capriles, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Alberto, and welcome to Venezuela.
Henrique Capriles, tell me more about this referendum, or recall vote as it's being called. Why is it so important that it's held this year?
If we're talking about a 6-year presidency, then once the third year has passed, 20% of all Venezuelans who are on the electoral roll can ask for a recall vote or referendum in order to give their verdict on the president's performance. They can decide whether they want to recall the mandate or keep the incumbent in office until the end of the 6-year term. Why have we asked for a recall vote? Firstly, Maduro is halfway through his mandate. Secondly, Venezuela is in the grip of the worst crisis in its history. There have been others in the past, but right now, this is the worst economic, political and social crisis in our country's history. What are we hoping to achieve with a recall vote? A solution to the crisis, and it must be a political one. Why? Because the government which controls the entire economy is to blame for the inflation rate, the highest in the world, and the worst shortages in the world. Venezuela at the moment is all about queues, endless queues to buy basic supplies like food and medicine. It's the government that's got us into this state, and it's not prepared to change. They want everything to stay as it is. The political crisis runs deep. We're insisting on this recall vote because we believe in a democratic, constitutional, peaceful and, in my opinion, electoral solution. The Venezuelan people are the only ones who can solve this crisis.
What will the opposition do if there is no referendum this year?
In my opinion, if we don't have a recall vote this year, there will be social turmoil. Society will erupt as a result of the growing daily tension. There may even be a coup. We don't want either of these things. That is why we're pushing for a solution that is backed by the Constitution, a recall vote.
Talking about the risk of a coup, the army, police, what's your impression?
Police officers, the National Guard, as I said before the interview, they're the worst paid on the continent. A police officer earns $30 a month in Venezuela. $30. Do you know how much you need to take care of a family of 5? $185. How can a police officer survive? And a member of the National Guard? If you ask me what their background is, almost every police officer and member of the National Guard comes from the slums or from poor areas of our country. They're not rich, they're not millionaires. Police officers are also affected by the crisis. They're public servants, and they do not want to have to resort to violence to prevent a recall vote being held. On the contrary, I'm sure they want a fresh election as well. They know it will change the government and we will start to get Venezuela back on its feet. Venezuela has no future with Maduro. Other countries must be aware of this. The government lost the election in December, just over 6 months ago. They were overwhelmingly beaten, but they carry on along the same path. Do you know how they're trying to explain the economic crisis? They say there is an economic war. With whom? Do you really think that what Venezuela is going through has anything to do with the US or any other country? No. The problem is that we're living in Venezuela. The Chavistas are frauds. They're thieves. They've destroyed the productivity of the country. We had the highest oil productivity in Venezuela's history. They stole it. Billions of dollars have been invested in Venezuela in the last few years. Where is it? Where are our resources? Why are we starving in Venezuela today? Do you know what most people are surviving on these days? Mango. Mango and yucca. A few years ago, it would have been unthinkable that people were starving, but that's happening now. It's the reality, and it's getting worse every day. What can we do? We must push for change because we do not believe in instability.
If you were president, what would be the first things you would do, especially regarding the economy? Would you ask the IMF for help?
Many people abroad think Venezuela is only about oil. That's wrong. If you get to know my country, you'll find out that Venezuela has enough territory to be self-sufficient. Venezuela has gas, gold, there are mines. We have some of the highest reserves of coltan mineral in the world. We have the largest reserve of drinking water on the planet. Venezuela could develop its tourism industry. I'm not just saying this because I'm Venezuelan. Venezuela has everything. But to have a working economy, you have to build trust. International investors are waiting for a change in Venezuela so they can come here and invest. Venezuela must rebuild. There are endless opportunities to start a business, create jobs, create opportunities in Venezuela. We have a small population of only 30 million, but the richest oil reserve on Earth. Potentially, we're strong. Today's problem is a political one, you must understand. This problem must be solved by political means. We have only one chance to solve this political crisis, and you must understand, in Europe. And I've said this twice to the former Prime Minister Zapatero, in Venezuela there can be no more dialogue. In the last few years, we've endured constant confrontation, but not a dialogue. We don't have that culture like you have in Europe. In Europe, you can see what happens in national parliaments. They talk to each other. Where should dialogue happen? In Parliament. After that, we can vote, but always based on the dialogue. This is the purpose of politics. We don't do politics here. Our only option is to let the people vote. People should choose. The people should decide. The government wants to get around the table. Why? Because they don't want a recall vote. The 2.6 million people that signed for the recall vote mean nothing. This is unacceptable. We will not negotiate the Constitution. It's the highest institution in this country.
If you were president, how would you play the relationship with neighboring states like Cuba?
Castro took advantage of us and still does. And then Cuba abandoned us. When they saw that Venezuela was bankrupt, without resources, what did they do? They opened negotiations with the US. And Havana has been successful. The world wants to invest in Cuba. So, if you're asking me about the relationship with Cuba, if I were responsible for this decision, I would say that I would not continue to give oil for free. Why? Why should we keep giving oil for free in a country where 80% live under the poverty line, where people are starving? Why should we give our oil away? What for? To please people? To win friends? Do you think it's possible to buy friends? Friends stay with you through thick and thin. Our two peoples are united by history. We're on the same continent. We're Latinos, but you can't ask me to allow Venezuela to keep giving its resources away. We can't. We need to have a light on in the house. You can't leave your house in darkness and have lights outside. And with what aim? For a common vote on the OAS? To get international support? This is over. When you say trust is the key, we can be on our feet in a year. How? By working with the private sector? How can we do that? By using oil, not by stealing it or by giving it away? We should use it to diversify our economy. We can liberate resources within a year, so we can import food and relaunch other sectors to restart our economy.
Is there anything else that you would say from the Chavez era?
Chavism was only about President Chavez, that's my opinion. That doesn't mean that those who believe in the project should not have political representation. They will. But what can we say today in defense of this wrongly named revolution? Chavez put the fight against poverty as his main aim. So, 17 years later, what's the situation with poverty in Venezuela? Do you want to know? It's worse.
Impunity is another huge problem in Venezuela. What can be done about that?
Of the 10 most dangerous cities in the world, 3 are in Venezuela, and number 1 is Caracas. The situation is dramatic, and Venezuelans are the ones who are suffering most. There's a huge crisis. We had 27,000 murders last year alone. But if you ask a citizen what the biggest problem is, he'll say the economy. Despite the violence we're experiencing, for those living here, the worst problem is the economy. But, to answer your question, how do you solve this problem? You have to change a couple of things. You must change the way justice is administered. The public attorney should not be the only authority. You must make the police stronger. You must create a better education system. We have 3 million children who are outside the school system. In order to achieve this, there must be political will. The entire state must make an effort to do this, together with the people. I personally believe that this government does not want to have that kind of security. They want anarchy in society. At the end of the day, the citizen is weak. The citizen shuts himself away. He sees his house as a prison, and the only savior is the government, because it's backed by military force. This type of government is based on a climate of violence and impunity because it renders citizens weak. If you have weak citizens, you have citizens that don't make demands in respect of the Constitution. What we have is an autocratic, authoritarian government, something we're fighting against in today's Venezuela.
In the name of ideology, Venezuela's closed its eyes to the presence of groups like FARC on its territory. What's your take on that?
It goes on. You probably know about paramilitary groups. That's how we should refer to them. They're in Caracas and other places. They've been referred to as collectivities, but their behavior is nothing like that. They're more like paramilitary groups. They're groups that operate completely outside the law. They're not security forces, they have no uniforms. They're paramilitaries who are protected by the state. This also contributes to the violent conditions we're living under.
Chavism was very generous towards a large section of the population, but some think what was given has destroyed the public spirit. How do you explain to people that the tune has changed?
Today we have almost nothing left. The government has destroyed the health and education systems. The national housing scheme is a lie. They've not built more than 1 million houses. This is why they do not want to change the law, because fresh legislation will reveal the true number of houses built in Venezuela all these years. How can you get the country back on its feet? By working hard. I believe the majority of people are well aware of that. Over all these years, many people got used to this system which has destroyed the value of working. But we can get this value back. The Venezuelan citizen is a hard worker. We're not lazy. That's what I tell you. Do not believe the government story. Do not look at Venezuela through the government's lens. We're different from our government.
What would you say to left-wing governments in Europe and elsewhere that support the government?
I invite them to come to Venezuela. I'll welcome them. I want to make myself clear. I'm not a conservative, and I don't believe that Venezuela has had a conflict between left and right. This is just an excuse. There's more to it. Venezuela has never had a government on the right. Venezuela's heart is not on the right, if you want to have an ideological debate. Don't ask me, ask the citizens if they're left or conservative. The problem in Venezuela is not the ideology. This is a self-professed left-wing government, but when you look at how it behaves, it looks like one from the far right. When you hear its language, you see how conservative it is. And this is a so-called leftist government? This is not true. There's something else I want to make clear. I invite all those left-wing people who support this government, please come. I'll show them the truth. I will take them to the slums, not to the presidential palace. That's where they should go. The authorities put them in nice places, in bubbles. This is typical of this government. They're disconnected from the world and then try to make the world believe that this bubble is the truth. Come here, don't be afraid. Do not hide in other cities in nice offices with air conditioning. They talk about claims. What kind of claims do they mean? Come to Venezuela and see the reality for yourself. There's one more thing I'd like to say. There is no international plot against left-wing governments in Latin America. This is a lie. These governments are trying to hide behind ideology because they're accused of being corrupt. Corruption is bad, whether it's on the left or on the right. Corruption is a cancer. We cannot accept or tolerate it. Venezuela suffers today because of a lack of food and medicine. We're the least competitive economy in the world and the country with the highest rate of corruption in the world. We are last on the list